Well, I'm underway. My anchor chain was wrapped twice around a rock and then around another rock and then around some sea urchins, so I had to spend some time diving on it. Not only was the anchor chain wrapped twice around a rock, but it wasn't wrapped the way you'd think it was. It was over and under and then another over and under, complete circles around it, and I have no idea how that happened, but it took me about 20 minutes of diving to untangle it, and then I was finally underway. Well, it's been raining and squalling ever since I left 2.5 hours ago. Not the best leaving that I've ever had, but then again, not the worst. At least the squalls are pushing me. Most of the sailing I've done so far in squall territory, which is the Caribbean, has been close hauled or beam reach. And usually I kind of pass through a line of squalls and then get out the other side, but I really do feel like I'm just sailing in a line of squalls. It seems like they're stacking up on Grenada and then just shooting one after the other right at my boat. I am just really wet and a little bit cold. Sailing in the right direction though, so that's good. Life could be a lot worse. Just drinking some hot tea, and when the sun does come out, it's gonna be awesome. Since it's so shitty out here, I'm not more than 5 miles off the coast of Grenada, but I cannot see it because it's behind that giant black cloud. And I kind of feel like I've just never left being at sea when I left the States and I had all that really nasty weather. It makes me realize that the only thing that sort of is constant in this trip is me and my little boat and the weather. Unfortunately, this sort of weather is also constant. It's really great out here. I'm so glad that I left today on such a great weather window. Really just having the time of my life, being at sea in the element. Kind of wish I dug out my fall weather jacket. Maybe it'll stop raining. Time to collect water. I've discovered that when it rains, it drips down my mainsail through the boom and out these 2 little holes on the back of the boom. So if I tie a 5-gallon bucket underneath it, in this case, I collected 4 gallons in 20 minutes. So that was cool for, you know, the freshwater having purposes, not so much for the me sitting in the rain purposes, but yeah, you can't win them all. It's pouring rain, it's gusting like crazy, and thunder, lightning, and I haven't been out for even 4 hours yet. This is nuts! And good news, I collected an entire bucket of water in 20 minutes. I have my little barrel that I'm gonna put it in, so that's a positive. Things are looking up. I just got hit by a super squall. I had to run forward and tear down the jib. I tried to reef the main, but I can't even because it's blowing so hard and I can't keep my boat head to wind. Oh, my little heart. I was going downwind, full sail, full giant Genoa, and it suddenly started blowing 30, and I immediately dropped the jib. I was going downwind, so it didn't drop, but I undid the halyard and then I ran forward and just wrestled that thing down. Fuck lightning. Put a double reef in the main and it was white out, blowing. It's kind of calming down now, but now I'm seeing lightning and thunder. I've been out for 3 hours. Yep, 3 whole hours. I have impeccable timing. I just passed through a flock of birds all sitting in the water, which I feel like isn't necessarily a good sign because birds usually hide from storms. I don't know. The wind is pretty down right now, but it's still raining, it's still cloudy, and there's thunder. I'm afraid to take the reef out of the main yet because I'm not sure what's going to hit me next. I did not think that today was going to start this way. It's 9:45 in the morning. It seems like it's getting lighter, so I think the worst of it is past. I'm still not going to take the reef out of the main until I know that everything is passed, because I really have no idea what's going on right now. I turned off the breaker switch to my batteries, so everything is off and unplugged. It seems like it's getting a little bit better. The rain is kind of letting up. The only problem now is that since the wind just suddenly died and I'm severely reduced of the sail, my boat is just getting destroyed by the waves. Everything is clinking around down below, and God, I'm just holding on, and I'm a little nervous to shake the reef out of the main because it's still so icky, but I do want a little more sail up so that I'm not just sloshing around like a monkey in a barrel here. Okay, this is squall number 5 or 6 or something. This one looked really evil from a distance, so I double reefed my main, head sails down. I can hear it rumbling and thundering away behind me, and it's got that kind of greenish squall light. So I just had this big, bad, scary experience with thunder and lightning and 35 knot gusts and pulling down my Genoa and the sail luffing and so much rain in my face that my contacts almost fell out, and now it's clearing up. And I turn around and I can actually see Grenada still, because I've only been out for 3 hours and I already feel like I've experienced a whole day at sea. This is so crazy. And now there's no wind, but I'm still a little bit shy to put up my Genoa because I think I have to though. It seems like, okay, there's still thunder. I just want all these squalls to be over, please. Okay, thanks, bye. Even though the wind and the squalls are letting up, it's still coming down hard with the rain. I got cold for the first time in probably 4 months, so I put on a Fowley jacket and made myself a nice hot pot of ramen noodles, and just sitting in the cockpit, warming myself up from the inside, eating the brothy deliciousness. I like to add peanut butter, sriracha, and an egg to my ramen, and then boil the egg around until it all cooks in. So it's good and full of nice warming calories. Life is, you know, could be better. I definitely am wishing that I had stayed and waited another day to leave, but could be worse too. So there you go. That's sailing. The sun's about to set and I see a light on the horizon. It's just reminding me that these waters are a little bit dangerous. Well, mostly the waters between Grenada and Trinidad. There have been many stories of piracy. I'm sticking further north of Venezuela, but a couple days before I left, there was a news story about a fishing boat from Grenada that got boarded by pirates. So it's just reminding me that those things are out there. I'm just keeping a weather eye out for any boat traffic that might be suspicious. Today is such a beautiful day. Yesterday it squalled and rained for the first 6 hours, and then last night it was gorgeous sailing. There was only one squall where I had to take the head sail down, and other than that, I slept outside. I had 2 birds that kept me company the whole night. They just kind of roosted on my boat for the evening. And I woke up every 25 minutes to check for ships, and it was chilly out. I actually put on a sweatshirt and long pants and had a little blanket. Really good sleeping. Today I'm wing and wing, running downwind at about 4.5 knots. The seas are, it's a little bit rolly, and it would definitely be uncomfortable if I was going into the wind, but going downwind, it's bliss. I've rigged up my sunshade, and I just kind of feel like a cat today because I'm alternating between taking naps, reading my book, because, you know, cats can read books, and eating little snacks and staring at the clouds. I feel like a kid on a summer's day. Tonight it's a gorgeous sunset. I'm still wing and wing. I've been like this all day long. I initially wasn't sure if my wind vane was going to be able to handle steering wing and wing, because you don't really have that broad of a range for deviation from the wind, and the wind vane notoriously steers in really big snaky S-curves. But I found that once I put the whisker pole out for my head sail, then everything was fine. I tie a preventer on the main, and sometimes one sail or the other gets backed and I'll go tweak the wind vane, but for the most part I haven't really had to touch anything, and I just feel like a queen. This is awesome. This is sailing that I have not yet experienced on this boat. This is turning out to be one of my better sails. It started out pretty rough. I wasn't able to put the self-steering on because of all the squalls. Basically, I was in a giant thunderstorm with squalls inside of it, going downwind, and when that's the case, the wind vane just can't steer at all. Plus, I kept having to take the sails down and put them up again, and the waves are pushing me all over the place. But then life just keeps getting better. Yesterday, I had the whisker pull out, and I spent the whole day wing and wing downwind with the wind vane steering, which I didn't think the wind vane was capable of steering wing and wing, but it does if you put the whisker pull out, because it kind of increases the error that you can have before the sails start to back. And then last night I was wing and wing until about 3 in the morning when a squall came up and I took the pole down, but the wind also changed direction, so now I'm on a port tack with the wind right on the quarter. And I've been going 5.5 to 6.5 knots all morning, which has been amazing. I'd say I'm probably averaging 6 or over 6.5. It's been a long time since I've had a sail that wasn't close hauled. I think the last time I had big sails that were downwind was when I left Maine in November, but I was riding the backs of nor'easters, so it was like 25 knots in 35-degree Fahrenheit weather, and my boat was leaking. Oh, here's the gust. I caught a fish! I was sitting in the cockpit watching this squall that's forming and saw a fish jumping out of the water in hot pursuit of my lure, and now it's on it. But someone told me that I'm supposed to wait a little bit for the fish to tire itself out before I try to bring it in, but here it is. Well, I don't know if you can see it. Holy shit, it's a Dorado. This is probably the most exciting day of my entire life. Sorry, people who are important to me, but this fish! Oh my god, this is awesome! I'm not going to show you my fish cleaning process because I'm still learning and I'm very far from being perfect. I assure you, none of the meat was wasted, but it definitely wasn't as beautiful as professionals can do it, and I know that the internet is full of critics, and I am not yet confident enough to show off my sick fish cleaning skills, but hopefully once I get better at it, I will be able to show you how I can wield my sharp little fish knife and make beautiful fillets. But for now, I'll just let you know that while it may not have been beautiful, all of the meat was consumed. Since I have so much fish and just one me and no fridge, I'm gonna do what my parents used to do on their boat, which is to dry it so that I can have it later and it's not all gonna go bad. And I'll save aside a little piece for dinner tonight, but honestly, I just made a bunch of squash and ate it right before I caught the fish, so I'm not actually that hungry. I might make enough that I can have some for breakfast though tomorrow. Welcome to the Holly's Galley cooking show. I am so tired. I haven't slept at all in the past 2 nights. Step 1, turn on the fan. It's hot as balls down here. Step 2, put some lime on the fish, but be careful not to get any lime in your cut thumb. Or your other cut thumb. I now realize that there's like 80 seeds in the slime and that now you have seeds in your fish. But that's okay. Ouch, bones. So we're gonna turn up that sweet, sweet propane. Just make it a little hotter in here. Oh, you know what I should do? Turning this up. I know what I should do. We're gonna My Drunk Kitchen, but I have a better thing. It's called My Sleep Deprived Kitchen, and it's basically the same thing. Pardon me, I think I'm off course. Okay, we're back. You know, garlic isn't fun to peel, but it's always worth it to eat a lot of garlic, because if you scare people away by smelling like it, you didn't want them in your life anyway. That was really close. I just went up to check my course and almost completely kicked over my bowl of fish. I don't have a ton of experience cooking fish, but I think that you kind of just sear it. I know with tuna you just kind of go and then it's really good. This is hilarious because the little chunks of garlic look exactly like the lime seeds, and I got probably half the lime seeds are in the pan right now, so it's gonna be Russian roulette. I don't really know what Dorado is good with. Hopefully just my fingers and the pan in the cockpit like a caveman. I guess like a civilized caveman, because most of them probably didn't have pans or boats. Oh my god, yes. Oh, you are delicious. I'm so happy! All I need is to go to sleep. Food coma. Bring on the food coma. Send my compliments to the chef. Night 3. The wind is totally dead and I am motoring. I'm keeping the main up just to stabilize the boat a little bit, otherwise the roll would be a lot worse. It's pretty blowing zero out there, and I motor at less than 3 knots, and since I have no tiller pilot, I have to be on the helm unless there's a speck of wind, and then sometimes the wind vane can hold its own if I put up the big paddle. So right now I'm just kind of trying to figure out what I'll do tonight. If the wind doesn't pick back up again, if I want to get sleep, I'll just turn off the engine, lash the tiller, let my boat not really move at all and just kind of drift around and take naps. I still won't be able to sleep for a full amount of time because I might come into ship traffic, but it'll be better than nothing. It's crazy to think that a couple days ago I was getting pummeled by, you know, squalls up to 30 or so knots, and now I'm just kind of sitting on this glassy lake. It's super pretty. The engine is really loud, but the clouds shining on the water and the little delicate tendrily breeze are making it all worth it. After the sun set, the wind slowly picked up until at about, I'd say maybe 10:30 or 11, I was able to put the wind vane on. And then I was able to turn off the motor and put up the sails. So I did get some sleep, and the next morning I was rewarded with adorable little dolphins playing around on my bow wake. I've never seen this many dolphins around my boat before. I was greeted this morning with dolphins, which was amazing. There was a pod of probably about 15 of them, all playing around my boat and welcoming me to almost land. It's cool. If I didn't have charts, I would definitely be able to tell I was getting close to land, because first thing in the morning, I saw a little yellow butterfly flutter by my boat, and then I saw the dolphins, which are usually an indication that I'm getting close to land. Then now I have some swallows that are playing on my boat, and I've seen more bits of seaweed. There are definitely ways of telling that land is in sight, even if you don't have charts. The wind stayed decently steady throughout a little more than half of that day, and then it totally died again in the afternoon and I had to motor, and then as the evening approached I was able to put out both my sails again, but only just barely. It's my last night. Bonaire is in the distance and the wind totally died a couple hours ago. Now it's back super feebly, but just enough that I was able to switch off the engine and put out the whisker pole, and I'm steaming along at 3 whole knots. Woohoo! But I should get into Bonaire actually right around sunrise. So that'll be good timing because you're not allowed to anchor there. You have to pick up a mooring ball and it's tricky to find them in the dark. There's my fish jerky. I've been eating it throughout the day. It's really nice now. The thinner pieces have dried through completely and the thicker ones still have some squish inside, so it's a big treat. I really hate motoring. My engine is so unbelievably loud that sometimes I wear earplugs in the cockpit. I motored for a couple hours today and a couple hours yesterday. So even if the wind's barely filling my Genoa and I'm hand steering all night, I would rather do that than motor. Also, interesting, this cloud has lightning in it, the one that's right over Bonaire. So maybe I'll be getting some wind after all, although it is downwind of me. The lightning into the cloud turned into a pretty full-blown thunderstorm, so I've decided to sail away from the giant storm cloud full of lightning, and unfortunately I'm going back where I came from. I dropped my head sail and secured it, so I'm just sort of dancing along under a little main. I don't want to heave to because that's going to push me back down onto the storm, and there's also some lightning from the south, so I'm just kind of going probably half a knot back where I came from. I'm going to hang out here until this dissipates or blows away because, like I said, right now it's directly over where I want to go, and I'll do a lot of stupid things, but sailing into a ball of lightning is not on the list. Day 5 was stormy and pretty windless. After a full night of no wind and just letting my boat drift around while I snatched sleep, I got up at sunrise, turned on the engine, and decided I was just gonna motor the final push to Bonaire. I did have some bird friends, so that made life a lot cuter. After a couple hours, the wind filled in enough that I could turn off the engine and set sail, and I had a really awesome run to the harbor. I was so tired that I was on another planet, but it was a good planet full of really happy feelings and eventual sunshine, and the last little push to get into the harbor turned out to be really pleasant. I'd say it was a nice overall end to the whole trip, and I'm really glad that I was able to come in under sail power and not motoring because that just made me a little bit happier, and it was a nice cap off to the whole trip. Thank you guys for watching. I am so stoked that I was able to share this trip with you. It was only 5 days, but I experienced every type of weather, I think, excluding the giant extremes. Right now, I'm working my way through the ABCs, and it's definitely a big change from the Eastern Caribbean. The first week, I was really homesick for the tall, pointy, jungle-clad mountains of the Southeast Caribbean, and honestly kind of sad, but now I'm kind of back in my stride again and just enjoying being on my boat. I think I mentioned it in the beginning of the video, but when I leave a place that I love, all I have is myself and my boat, and I just feel an even stronger connection to that bond. I've done a lot of traveling in my life, but I've never had a constant before, so having a home and something as dynamic as a sailboat is kind of a cool thing to have. If you guys are interested in supporting me, I have a Patreon account. It's patreon.com/windhippie. Thank you to all my patrons who support me on there already. You guys are awesome. I also have a website. I write blog posts every other week, and then I upload videos on YouTube every other week on the weeks that I don't do the blog post. So my website is windhippie.com, and if you're interested in following me on Instagram, I post more up-to-date photos of where I am in time, because my videos lag a little bit. My Instagram is @boatlizard, and I usually post a couple times a week so you can see where I am in real time and not in video time. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week on my blog at windhippie.com and in 2 weeks again on YouTube.